sports was cool. You know what I mean? I was the biggest in my family. I ain't the biggest here in the world, but in my family, I was the biggest. So it kind of felt like I always had the upper advantage. So I would say football heavy. And just really just being a people's person, you know what I mean? The hardest thing in the world to do is to be somebody else. The easiest thing in the world to do is be yourself. Because God created you to be yourself, so just be yourself. Like, don't try to portray to be somebody that you're not, because that's you're going to get bogged going that way. Because you're stressing trying to be something that you're not every single day. You wake up, be yourself. Like you said, I mean, I appreciate the flowers and stuff like that. I'm just a genuine person.
For sure.
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Tech is hard, but once you get into it, it become easy. Like, you know what I mean? That's just anything. Like you.
The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said you're up and I'm up. Y'all now tuned in to the Grind Hard Dream Big Show. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I got a special guest in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, man.
It's King Marq, KingMarq. Yeah. Director of Digital at WPGC 95.5. Founder, owner of A King's Vision, LLC. Yeah, we here.
For sure, man. I want to just get into like your early childhood, man. You know, coming up in the DMV, or where you were born, where you were raised, and like some of the hobbies that you found yourself into when you were young, man.
Yeah, so my mom had 7 kids, so I'm like 3. I'm the third one. Growing up, I did a lot. You know what I mean? I did anything to make some money. You know what I mean? And I say that to say I was, selling candy. I was the one drawing on binders, special designs and things like that. I grew up in Germantown, Maryland, Montgomery Village, Maryland. So on the Montgomery County side of things. Moved around a lot. I lived in Ohio, PG, DC. Pretty much a lot of different places, you know what I mean? Just everywhere. So, yeah.
For sure. So, like, what were some of the hobbies that you found yourself into, like, as a kid?
Yeah, as a kid, I was into sports heavy. I did a lot of football. I played soccer at one point, basketball. I pretty much did everything sports related. I was pretty much into a lot of arts and crafts, you know what I mean? So drawing, music. I played the clarinet, trumpet, drums. I was just one of them kids that just did everything I possibly could just because it was available for me. You know what I mean? Just trying different things because you never know what you're good at,
For sure.
Definitely.
So, like, as you're navigating through those things, like, did you find, like, that one particular thing or, like, 2 things you like, all right, you know what? I'm going to stick with this.
Yeah, so I would say sports was cool. You know what I mean? I was the biggest in my family. I ain't the biggest here in the world, but in my family, I was the biggest. So it kind of felt like I always had the upper advantage. So I would say football heavy, and just really just being a people's person. You know what I mean? I wasn't really the type of person that just boxed myself in. I was kind of hanging with everybody. You know what I mean? The soccer players, the football players, any kind of tennis players. You know what I mean? Just anywhere, because it's a different dynamic with different groups of people, and I understood that. You know what I mean? So.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nah, I think that's definitely dope because, like you said, you ain't put yourself in the box. You can hang out with anybody. You could relate to anybody or try new things. I think that is very important, of course, in your childhood to try different things and not to box yourself in. If it's like soccer, basketball, chess or whatever it may be, like a lot of things.
And what's crazy about that is moving, because I was born in D.C., and then we moved to Silver Spring, and then we moved around to different places. So that kind of allowed me to get the understanding that there's different races out there. You know what I mean? Like At one point in time, I was only seeing us, you know what I mean? Us, just minorities, and then I started seeing other different, ethnicities, and I was like, what y'all do? You know what I mean? Like, because obviously they grew up different, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So just having that diversity and understanding that there's different cultures, they operate different ways. And I was interested, So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that curiosity comes at an early age, too, because, when you're seeing things and you're exposed, to different things, you're like, oh, yeah, you know what? What's that? Oh, what's this? I want to go here. I want to do this. So how was exposure for you, as a kid? Like, because, youth now with, like, field trips and things like that, like, were you going a lot of places and moving around? Like, what were some things that, like, stuck out to you that you kind of, like, took to be like, whoa, okay.
So to be honest, back when I was a kid, I was a little bad, so I ain't go on no field trips. I wasn't in no school dances. I wasn't doing none of that, just because I was bad. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't say bad as a bad kid. It's just school was boring to me. You know what I mean? Because after I learned ABCs, 1, 2, 3, it was just like, you know what I mean? Geometry is kind of, I don't need it. You know what I mean? So once I started to get out of that, the day-to-day of feeling like I don't need this kind of work or learning these kind of materials within my regular life, I was just like, you know, it ain't really for me. But yeah, that's pretty much what it was like.
Got you, for sure. I ain't gonna lie, like you said something that stuck with me, the geometry thing. I struggled with that too. Like I was like, all right, but I realized like the classes that, you know, we take or the classes that we don't like, we don't really see ourselves utilizing this information, and it's like, whoa, it comes back full circle though, in a sense.
Nah,
so it's
sure.
like, yeah, in that sense. So like, I guess as you made the transition, you know, I guess, you know, your late high school years into that, like what were you kind of like learning in high school, or like what were some of those challenges
I would
that
say
you had?
I would say my soft skills. So soft skills was very, very important once I got older, because I started to understand that it's about the company you keep and it's about who you know. You know what I mean? And I realized that at an early age, because I was the only kid at my school that actually worked at a Nike outlet store, because I was 18 and nobody else in the school was 18 at the time of when they was doing the job hiring. So me working there, I was like the plug. You know what I mean? Everybody came to me for shoes and stuff like that. And I'm like, it kind of dawned on me that it's about who you know, because now people are getting discounted shoes because of me. You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh, that makes sense. So how about I meet this one person that does this specific, you know, thing. That's how I learned how to do video editing and camera work. I just found the next person that was doing that. You know what I mean? And it was like, use them as a tool. So I would say just growing up in high school and things like that, I just learned to utilize people in a correct way without using them. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Each one teach one kind of thing, just being there for somebody. Hey, I got you if you got me kind of thing. And it was sky's the limit from there, because everything became easier. Now, like, I'm just picking whatever industry I want to do in life. Hey, you do this? All right, bet. I can show you this, you show me that, you know?
Right.
Easy.
Nah, that's definitely dope. I think it's needed too. Like you said, like, because me in high school, you know, I'm just like, all right, go to class, do my thing. All right, I wasn't really like heavy on the networking, but now I realize, like, you know, networking is so important. It's super important, especially, you know, like adding value. So like those things, you know, you're making the transition from like Nike. So you had mentioned, like, you know, your company as well. So like, when did you start like picking up the camera? When did you start like exploring with that as well?
So I was doing graphic designer. So I was a graphic designer for the friends in the neighborhood, you know, my brothers. I was doing their mixtape covers, the little single covers and stuff like that. I was like, this is cool, but like nobody know what y'all look like. I'm putting fake cars behind y'all, but that's not how we really living. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just pick up a camera. So there's a guy around my way. His name is Simba. He was shooting music videos. He was going crazy. He was a rapper around my way. He was doing millions of views, and I'm like, the cameraman getting paid from YouTube and you? Oh yeah, I need that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's legitimate, and it's fun. You know what I mean? I'm around people all day, every day. Anyways, I might as well pick up a camera and just go ahead and record y'all. And yeah, that's pretty much how I started my business. I was like, you can get paid for just hanging around. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just recording. I do that. And I was kind of brought up on the age where it was social media started to slowly pick up. This is when like Snapchat kind of just started popping and stuff like that. So like I realized how big the camera was going to be in the future. You know, me personally, I'm just the type of person that always thinks at least 5 years ahead. So I'm like, everybody whipping out their phones on Snapchat. If I buy a camera and everybody's already, you know, I'm ahead of you guys because now I got a professional camera. Now everybody want to be on the camera, so I just start charging. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I charge to hang out with you, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's dope because you realized, okay, like you said, a long-term thing, right? I think some of us, we pick up something and we're like, okay, we don't even think that long. We're just like, I'm going to just do it for the moment right now. And it's like, all right, well, what does it look like from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 to year 5 to year 10 and things like that. So after you did that, when did you kind of like get comfortable to be like, okay, you know what, I got something here?
When people start hitting me up and I had to turn people down, like, oh, chill, I'm still in school, bro. Like, you know, I'm still trying to get by. But I started to realize that when I understood that there wasn't so much supply. You know what I mean? So there was so much demand. Everybody wanted to be a rapper. Everybody wanted sports tapes, you know, mixtapes, football highlights. You know what I mean? There was so much demand, but it wasn't enough supply. You know, it wasn't too many people doing what I was doing where I was from. You know what I mean? So I understood that. I'm like, now I can take this anywhere. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to pick a specific topic because now everybody needs it. You know, and being in high school, it's thousands and thousands of kids there. You know what I mean? And everybody plays, most people play a sport, they play an instrument or anything, you know what I mean? And I understood that, so I just started multiplying that, you know what I mean? My friend turned it to 10 friends, turned to 20, turned to 40, you know what I mean? And it was easy for me. Like, you know what I mean? It just made sense.
Got you, for sure. And I think that that's very, very dope. And I commend you for that, because it's like you're always adding the value. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I know you need this. You may need some pictures. You may need a reel. You may need something. All right, cool. I got you on that. Mm-hmm. And then, building those relationships. So, like, how do relationships for you now kind of like correlate? Because now you're like, all right, but I didn't pick this camera up. I didn't found, my passion. I didn't found my lane, and now building these relationships. So for one, what do relationships mean to you, and how do you continue to harness them?
Yeah, so relationships are they're more important than money. You know what I mean? Like, I can't stress this enough. You want money, you gonna have to build relationships. Like, that's just what it is in life. You gotta be a good person. You know what I mean? And you gotta be genuine. So like you said earlier, I'm gonna touch back on that. You just you add value. You know what I mean? I'm never the type of person that want to be around people just to be around or to use people. You know what I mean? If you're gonna be in a room, just make sure you add value. You know what I mean? I'm the type of person that just always gonna add value. And that's with my personality, with the camera, or my resources or tools. You know what I mean? And I did come up here with something on my mind that I wanted to say that I didn't want to forget while you asked that question, is if people are like youth-wise, right, they're looking for that right direction, that path, that where they want to go, pick up a tool or a resource or anything, a skill, right? So say you cut hair. You're going to be cutting 20 people's hairs, right? Those 20 different people do 20 different things in life. You know what I mean? And you're sitting there with them for 30 minutes to an hour. You can easily network that way. You know what I mean? So me personally, it was my camera. So when I wanted to learn about real estate, I found a real estate person that wanted to shoot content. You know what I mean? If I wanted to work at the radio station, found a radio station. So I say that to say, like, just pick up a skill that everyone needs. You know what I mean? Because then you could just pick where you want to go. So as successful as I may be in life, I feel like I'm always be more successful because I'm going to just find where I add value. You know what I mean? For
sure. And I think that it's always good to say as well and note that, every expert was once a beginner. Right. You know what I mean? So just understanding that, like I tell people all the time, like me with podcasts and the brand and everything like that, like I never envisioned any of that. And I tell myself, I'm not the expert. Right. I'm always learning. I'm always in student mode with everything. So, and I agree with the relationship part, because like I said, at the end of the day, it could be about purpose. It could be about money. It could be about all these things. But if we're not adding value to the situations, then that's when it's going to drift completely.
Yeah, it's eventually
fast.
Just going to disintegrate, bro. Like,
right.
Because if you're not adding value, what you doing? You know what I mean? You kind of in the way at that point. And like I said, just leveraging resources. So if I have a resource that can help you, that can help the next man, you know what I mean? And it's genuinely helping them. They can't say nothing bad about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And then a lot of people out here kind of be like, oh, I don't want somebody to say that they put me on. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of pride. You know what I mean? Me personally, I'd rather get put on and then somebody turn around and be like, oh, I put him on. You did. Thank you. Like, right. You know what I mean? I didn't lose nothing out of that, you know? And a lot of people are super prideful about that. They just don't want to give people their flowers. You know what I mean? Like, you got to, you know what I mean?
I agree. And I think that that's important because, like I said, at the end of the day, that's what it's really about. The people that are collaborating are the people that are winning. The people that are doing work in isolation are the ones that are losing, right? Mm-hmm. And we always see that because it's like, okay, you got this idea, I got this idea, but you on this block, I'm on this block. Why can't we just merge the blocks and come together? It's easier that way. Right. Instead of just complaining about something, we could just be more solution-oriented and reaching more masses. So
for sure.
I definitely agree with you on that. But people are seeing the fact that you do this digital thing at an all-time high, but you like, that's not even really me for real, or like things like that. So like, what was that for you? Like, outside of that, and like, what you find yourself passionate about? Because I'm like, okay, I'm saying we're in a digital world.
Nah, for
I'm
sure.
saying everything is just information technology and all that.
Right,
so
right. Nah, so I'm in. A lot of people don't know I'm in tech. So I'm a cybersecurity manager. And I'm a cybersecurity engineer. You know what I mean? So I kind of translated that with shooting videos and stuff like that because I wanted to be at home. And I understood during COVID while everybody was running up the unemployment, everybody sitting at home making money. I was like, this is great. How can I do this outside of COVID? Because it's not going to last forever. Like it won't last forever. So, just doing tech, working from home. But then I post when I'm outside or at the radio station, working with this celebrity, that celebrity. It's fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's fun. Because I get to understand that they're human. Like, a lot of people see the celebrities and see me posting with this person and working with, all kinds of people, but they're almost more human than the regular people. You know what I mean? Because I would say regular people as in like those who are trying to make it in life. You know what I mean? You can
Right.
consider those people have already made it. You know what I mean? And it's funny because people at a lower level are trying to become something that they're not versus the people that are already something, they're trying to become normal again. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's just like they want a normal life. They're tired of walking around and people are like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun to just sit there and just talk, have a genuine conversation. Like when I was talking with A$AP Ferg, I was like, dang, I was listening to you my whole life, basically. You know what I mean? And you just sitting here talking to me like an uncle. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just,
that's fire.
you're just a normal dude. And it's just funny because it's just like, I never thought about it that way because I was always on the outside looking in. I was on the consumer base, like, oh, I'm about to download his tape. Now I'm just sitting here just like, this is cool. You know what I mean? Even working with the Franchise Boys, when I was up in New York, I was just like, they didn't even know they were famous. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because they just so used to having local fame that they didn't realize how big it was outside of that. And it's just like people want that genuine connection. Nobody wants to be feeling like they're just, too isolated and too good for everybody. I mean, there's some people like that, but most of them they chill.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that because, like I said, I know years ago before Nipsey passed away at the Fillmore, I was able to like meet him and have a conversation with him. And like I said, I was like the same person that we heard the music and seen the interviews. He's the same person. Like literally, he just literally dropped gems. Like he was just talking about like purpose. A lot of people had asked him about like music, but he was like, I just asked him about like, yo, how did you know that this was you? Right. He was like, yo, normally they'd be like 2 minute quick conversations, but that joint was like 15, 20 minutes. I'm just like, bro, like,
because it's not
gems.
Because it's a genuine question. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a question as on a groupie level. You know what I mean? You really there to soak up some knowledge. You know what I mean? And I'm that type of person. I'm not the type of person to sit there and ask you how you sold 1,000 records. I want to ask you how you became successful and how was the journey. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's very important because I think that we look at, like I said, like social media, it being in a digital world, microwave oven, oh my gosh, 1,000 likes or whatever it is, the likes and the views, and we don't even really know what it took for that person to get there.
That level, right.
Know what I mean? So how do you feel about that now, especially with, our youth and things like that when they're seeing social media and they're saying these things, or even us as adults, we're like, man, we thinking that this joint instant, like, dog, they started Monday, all of a sudden they glue up Tuesday, Wednesday. It's like, nah, it may not be that.
So I'm big on, I'd rather work for it than not. You know what I mean? The easier it is to get, the easier it is to get, the easier it is to fall off. You know what I mean? People have overnight success all the time, but the grind wasn't there, so they don't appreciate it as much. So for someone like me that's working hard and grinding and taking the initiative to take step by step by step, it feels more genuine. And the message to the youth is just like, followers don't equate to dollars. That's one thing. A lot of people think, oh, this person got thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, likes and stuff like that, but that's all they got. They don't got nothing else to their name but an Instagram. So I wouldn't get too caught up on the social media. Me personally, I'm not the type of person to fake what I have. You know what I mean? Fake it till you make it kind of thing, because it just don't feel good to me. You know what I mean? Like, why am I portraying to be something that I'm not? So the internet is washed for me. Like, I take the internet as like, oh, okay, that's cool. You showing me the good parts, but 95% of your life is horrible. You just showing me on a boat, but you ain't even pay for the boat. Like, you know what I mean? You got in for free, but no one knows that.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that, early on for me, like, I know that we can look at social media and be like, dog, the likes, the views, like, dog, is this going to pop? And I think what's sticking with me now is just like, as you're continuing to do whatever you need to do, you continue to create those moments, and then the moments lead to the momentum and just keep going.
Right.
And I think that a lot of us strive for oh yeah, I'm trying to go viral. Oh yeah, this is just a moment. But then it's like, yo, you have to think after that moment. Because if you don't think after that moment and you're just striving for that, and all of a sudden that happens, it's like, bro, what's next?
It's short lived. And AJ Brown, he just won the Super Bowl, and he had made a post, and he was basically talking about like he won the Super Bowl, but it's just like, that's cool. You know what I mean? He appreciated the grind versus the actual championship. You know what I mean? Like, it's the path that you take to finally get to that top stage in your life, and when you get to that goal, it's like, dang, let me do it again. That's the Mamba mentality. Like when he kept saying, job's not done. There's people that have never even made it to any kind of playoff game. You know what I mean? But he's sitting there like, job's not done.
Right.
Because it's like nobody appreciates the championship, the top. Once you appreciate the grind. You know what I mean? It's lit that way.
Nah, I agree. And I think that it's a process too. And then it's like you have to tell yourself that you've been there before. So, I mean, I think, you know, like I said, for yourself, like it seems like everything that you've tried to do and have done is like you're just constantly learning. Like you don't have this level of comfort. You don't have this level of, all right, bet I'm good. I could just chill. I could just relax. Like really what's next? Because you seem very futuristic. Like, okay, bet I think long term.
Right.
So with, I guess, everything that you're doing, like what is like some long-term things that, you know, you're thinking about in place? Because obviously when we're starting things, we can look at a business, but we're like, nah, legacy.
Where's the end goal?
Yeah.
So really, shooting with the camera was a money thing for me, but then I started to realize that I can leverage this in the long term. So me personally, I'm the type of person to always look ahead because the future's gonna come. No, somebody was like, because I had recently just purchased some property, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make it a short-term rental in a couple years. And they're like, in a couple years, you're gonna be like 30-something. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna be 30 anything. But you know what I mean? I'm still in my 20s. But it's just like a lot of people are so caught in the moment, you know, and not understand that the future is gonna come. Like, it's inevitable unless you pass away. You know what I mean? But it's gonna come. And I'm the type of person to always prepare for that because I know I don't want to be stuck with nothing in my 30s. You know what I mean? Because that's a bad place to be. Because then over time, your 30s turn into your 40s and you ain't got nothing to show for it. You know what I mean? So I will always just tell people to just always look at least 5 years in advance. You know what I mean? The things that I'm doing right now, working at the radio station and tech, property, all this stuff, I prepared for that 5 years ago. You know what I mean? I did everything that I had to do 5 years ago to get to where I'm at right now. So I say that to say right now, I know my real estate portfolio is going to be booming in the next 5 years. I know I'm going to be higher up in cybersecurity in the next 5 years. I know the camera stuff is going to go crazy because I'm putting in the work right now. You know what I mean? And it's not a domino effect, but it's compound effect. Yeah. People don't understand the importance of compound. Like, you know what I mean? Like consistency, just keep being consistent. It's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, like you just sat there and said, it's like, okay, I can grind now, I can work now, I can find time to relax, I can find time to chill. So I guess throughout this whole notion, you know, you have so much work that you're doing. Like, what does self-care look like for you, bro?
Self-care is just closing my eyes and going to sleep, man. Like, me personally, self-care is just chilling. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm the type of person that's working because I know I got the energy right now, and I know it's trickling down. I can feel it in my back. I'm getting old, bro. So like, you know, but self-care, you know, just chilling, relaxing, playing the game. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I've never smoked before. I've never drunk a day in my life, so I don't even know what that feeling feels like. And that's another thing that it's a topic that I would like to touch on because a lot of people take self-care as in doing recreational drugs or doing stuff like that when that's not even that. You know, you gotta find different things and different ways that you can chill without being high or drunk. You know what I mean? Like there's natural things that you can do. Go get a massage. You know what I mean? Go walk in the park. Go eat some ice cream. You know what I mean? There's so many different things that you can do when you're just chilling. You know what I mean? Yeah, the mind is there for you to chill, like just to relax. Close your eyes, dude. Like, I'd rather you close your eyes and go get into some mess because you're bored. You know what I mean? That's good. That's really well said, and I definitely commend you for that because, like I said, a lot of people be like, "Oh yeah, you know, I'll go to a party, I'll go get lit or something like that." Yeah. But you just sat there and said, "Nah, I'm not even doing that. Like, I'm not smoking. I was about to say, drinking. I went to the club like once. My sober mind, understanding that. I went to the club like once on a shoot, and I was so uncomfortable because it's just like I'm not used to this environment, and a lot of people be like, "You boring." I'm like, I'm boring, but my bank account not. You know what I mean? I'm safe. You know what I mean? Like, I get to walk home at any time of night and know that I'm not looking over my shoulder. You know what I mean? Just living in a comfortable environment. And that's what it's about me. You know what I mean? I have a lot of siblings. I'm not the oldest, but I move like I am. You know? That's dope. Because I understand that, like, there's a chosen one in everybody's family. You know what I mean? I believe that I could be that one, you know? And I'm just, you know what I mean? I move at a different kind of, I ain't untouchable, but I try to make myself as untouchable as possible because people appreciate you more when you're gone. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't come around too much. You know what I mean? Got you for sure. And, you know, it's like making the game miss you, making the person miss you in a sense. But understanding that every time I'm showing up, I'm giving you the value. Right, because once you come around, I'm telling you, so like growing up, I got a bunch of siblings. It's cool and all. They're like, yeah, Marq is cool. But then when I moved away, or when they moved away and I just separated myself, I come back, I'm the man now. Like, they like, oh my God, like, man, you doing such big things. Da, 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 da. I'm like, I'm the same brother that we've been dealing with our whole lives. But it's just the fact that, you know, I took the time to separate myself and come back and pull up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Helping the next one.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, you know, it's like everybody has eyes, but everybody doesn't have your vision. Right. So it's like people ain't going to see what you do, or people may not appreciate what you do, but it's like you're not battling for the social acceptance part.
Nah, for sure.
And I think that that's something that, you know, right now a lot of people are struggling with, you know. Are they gonna like this? Are they not gonna like this? It's like, bro, like, give yourself the stamp.
Right, like yourself.
Yeah, like yourself, and be confident in what you're doing and walk boldly into it, and the right people will come. Like, that's how I look at it all the time.
Because if you out here blindly just doing things that you think will make you acceptable, are the people that you don't want to be around those people. You know what I mean? You want to be around people that genuinely like you because they like you, not because of what they think you have, what you feel like you have. You know what I mean? Like, just be around people that you add value to and they can add value back to you. You know what I mean?
For sure. So, like, how do you feel like about like the youth and the music? Because that's something that I feel like is very, very interesting, especially in our area, as we are, you know, like I said, the youth, they're, you know, listening to a lot of the rappers and things like that, and the influence. And then I know how it was for us when we were coming up. You know, we probably had that favorite artist that we listened to and things like that. So how do you feel about the correlation and the connection with like youth and music and stuff?
So music and youth is music in general is so important. So like I just feel like it's what shapes your mind. You know what I mean? It's a way of shaping your mind. And if you're listening to all crash out music, kill, that's what you know, that's what you train, your mind is training to do. So me personally, I never really was a drill type of listener. You know what I mean? I'm listening to somebody that's getting money. You know, like YG Tech in Baltimore. He got the shop going on. He got the restaurant. He got the music. You know what I mean? He got the trucking. Yeah. I'm listening to that kind of music, the motivation music, the music that's going to get you right. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because there are people like that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people think that is whack. You know what I mean? Not conscious rap, but just rap about things that are not trending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's important. You know what I mean? That's why I don't listen to nothing that's negative, honestly. I mean, I listen to Young Boy here and there, but it's about love song or something. You know, I ain't listening to him going to jail or you know, beefing with people. You know what I mean? I'm listening to things that I can relate to. You know what I mean?
I agree. I'm heavy on the Nip. I'm like you said, YG Tech, heavy on that. Heavy on like the Larry June, heavy on the Simba, heavy on like even the old school guys like the Jada Kisses, and sometimes I'll play Hove. Sometimes I'll still listen to like Pac and Biggie, things like that. Like I feel like it's like a grind playlist in a sense.
It's a get money. It's a get money
it's
kind
like
of
that
thing.
type of notion.
It makes you feel good. You know what I mean? It's not nothing negative. You know, you gotta think about it. I just feel like the people that commit the crimes or to commit the most crimes, they either listening to music like that and that's just pumping. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, before they go commit a crime, they're gonna listen to some bang bang shoot 'em up just because that's what gets them pumping. Because that's what they do in sports. You know what I mean? You listen to music to get you ready for a game or a show or anything. You know what I mean? And that's essentially what people do when they go out committing these crimes. They're training. You know, they're getting ready. You know, mentally. So when it's time to get money, what you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go listen to some get money music. So now I know. You know what I mean? This is the mode that I'm in.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it's definitely important, you know, the mindset, right, and our approaches to our goals and things like that. So, like, do you have, like, a daily routine that, you know, you kind of, like, model every day for yourself where it's like, okay, you know, making sure that you're in the right mindset, or, like, what is that day-to-day process for you?
Honestly, I don't wake up and look at social media. So first thing I do is I wake up. I mean, I'm working. I punch in the clock every day, but I roll over in my bed and just flip the laptop open. But I say the day-to-day for me, routine-wise, is just obviously thanking God for waking up the next morning, because it's important, you know, because I know too many people that didn't. You know what I mean? So I always show grace to that, because it's common. But, you know, there's a lot of people that's dying every day, you know, so definitely give grace to God. Listen to motivational music, not even motivational music. I say motivational speakers, such like yourself. I wake up, I see you be at the crack of dawn. You know what I mean? I'll look at things like that on social media, something that's going to get me set for the day. Because I'm big on when you wake up in the morning, that's what sets the tone. You know what I mean? If you wake up to some negative stuff, that's what life is going to be for the day. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I wake up, listen to you speaking positivity in the mornings.
I appreciate that.
Obviously, Wallow got his thing going on. I listen to a lot of podcasts, just a lot of positivity things. I'm big on energy, waking up, you need to have a positive energy because your day gonna suck if it's not, you ain't wake up that way, you know what I mean? So I say that, wake up, just look at something positive.
Yeah.
Eat a bagel or something. Do something that's productive, that's positive, because it sets the tone.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I know for myself, like, waking up, praying, thanking God, definitely being in my Bible. Shout out to the Bible app for sure. And then like journaling, and just taking that time. And then like for me, working out early in the morning. I feel like, just decompressing, like get my steps in without looking at my phone, like you saying, social media, things like that. Post motivational content, something positive to get the day going and stuff like that. And then just be about my day.
Right.
And I realized like the more you lock in on your routine, the more strategic you are with what you're doing, man. You don't really have time for the negativity. You only got time for, I ain't got time for that. Like, I'm on this. I'm not on that. You know what I'm saying? And understanding your circle, too.
Nah, for sure. And it takes 30 days to build a habit. You know what I mean? So a lot of people think that you wake up one day and you're going to do this for the rest of the week. That's why there's a lot of people that go to the gym the first day of the year and they're not there for the rest of the year because they didn't set that 30-day standard for themselves. You know what I mean? So you just having that routine of waking up every single day, posting, doing this, doing that. It becomes easier over time.
Oh, yeah,
I know
sure.
The first time you did it, you was like, man, this is a lot.
Man,
but
what?
over time,
for sure.
But over time, life became life. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is my day-to-day routine now. It's easy for me to do.
Yeah, and to be honest, it like if I did not do it, it's like, yo, something wrong with him. Because
Right.
like you so locked in
Right.
on what you're doing. You know
Like,
what I mean?
what was he must have had a bad morning? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah, things like that. Some
Something
people
could
like, man,
possibly
what happened to you?
Right.
Like, what's
I
up
was
with you,
I was
bro?
looking forward to it. You know what I mean? And you have to realize that people genuinely are looking forward to it.
Yeah, they
You know
are.
what I mean? Like I said, I wake up and I ain't know you from a can of paint, but like I was watching you. You know what I mean? And it's just like you're doing something. You know what I mean? It's just that consistency. Like you said, not seeing you on Instagram is weird. Like, because I'm so used to seeing you, and that's how Wallow became who he was. Because people see him every single day, regardless of what he's talking about. It's just the consistency of seeing a face,
Right. And and like I said, for me, I just had to install that for myself. Like, okay, what was the goal? Like, where do I see this? Okay, it's a brand now. Okay, now we're implementing it into youth. Now we want programming. Like years from now, I see myself having my own building.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And doing that, and then just doing this on a bigger scale, where it's like, okay, all the schools, all the kids, like
Right.
whoever we could reach, get these contracts, get it moving. At the end of the day, and doing commencement speaking, you know what I'm saying, at all these different schools or whatever. Because at the end of the day, for me, what I'm seeing is the long-term thing and what I could do.
Right.
Podcasting, motivational speaking, programming, bringing people in that look like these, that look like our younger selves,
Right.
that know that these stories are that are relatable,
Right.
and know that this is living proof, bro.
Nah, and that's another thing that I would say got me going. You know what I mean? I used to date this one girl. Her stepdad was really, really successful in my eyes. You know what I mean? Growing up where I'm from, it didn't look like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
For sure.
So it didn't look like that growing up. So yeah, I mean, just being around people that I feel like is important and doing things well in life. So I just be like them.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And so your skill set, and I think like, you relating to the youth and you being, like who you are and just walking into it, man. Like, what do you feel like, when you were in school, like, bro, I wish they had taught me this class, or, oh my gosh, I wish that they had did this. Like, what do you think that the youth, like, if there were like a couple classes that they would need to be successful, becoming adults, what do you think that would be?
Financial literacy easily. Like that's not even a question. Like it's financial literacy easily because it's hard. Like taxes is hard. I don't understand the lick of taxes. Like me personally, I gotta trust my tax lady because if I don't know. You know what I mean? I think it's super, super important to like I said, just financial literacy. That's the class that I wish I had took. That and honestly just a class where all the after school programs, right? There's a lot of after school programs when there's youth coaching or youth talk, like different things that you can do with different mentors and stuff like that. But that's after school. Why can't we get that during school? You know what I mean? Like you have to sit after school after you've been in school for 8 hours and then we got to do after school just to learn something that's valuable. You know what I mean? Like I can finally sit with you after school. Like nobody wants to do that 9 hours later. You know what I mean? So if you can implement that somewhere throughout somebody's day to where they're already doing work and doing schoolwork, I think that's important too. So I say like a coaching class, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Nah, like I said, the reason why I asked is because, like, I think that when we're looking at the crime, we're looking at all these things with the kids. It's like, what's really going on? You know, where are they getting the guns from, or the violence and all these things, the uptick in crime? It's like, okay, what more resources do they need? You know, and a lot of us are, you know, probably scratching our heads and being like, oh, well, we probably need more of this, or we probably need more of that, or like, even on the court is different. You know, I know when I was in high school, I took a entrepreneurship class. So I knew about like ROI and I knew about like taxes and stuff. And it's crazy because like all these terms came back full circle. And I had reached out to my teacher. She like, see, told you.
Right.
Know what I mean? Things like
coming.
that. Yeah. So things like
sure.
that. And like even like public speaking and, you know, that's communications and things like that.
That's
so
key
like,
too.
Yeah.
A lot of people just being virtual all the time. They don't have people skills no more. You know what I mean? They can't physically talk to somebody, you know, because they're just so used to being behind a computer, behind a FaceTime call. Body language is key when it comes to certain things. You know what I mean? That can tell you a lot about an individual.
Yeah, and like even with this, like the stat and the statistic that I always talk about, is like you have people between the ages of 11 and 25 on their phones for 8.5 hours a day scrolling through social media, whether it be the YouTube, the Instagram, the TikTok, Snapchat, whatever app they're on. And we're realizing now it's like, yo, okay, no coincidence why they want to be an influencer.
Right, that's what they see every day.
That's what they see every day. So like, do you think that's a pro and a con? I mean, I know you sat there and said earlier, you know, about like the people skills and the soft skills and things like that. But do you think that that's like alarming, something that you could look at and be like, yeah, this is alarming. This is like triggering.
To be honest, I feel like social media is more negative than positive. And I say that because there's so much false information on the internet based off of what their life thinks, what they want you to see in their life. You know what I mean? It's not real time. So, I mean, just waking up, just looking through Instagram, a lot of people are not showing their downs. You know what I mean? So all you see is up. So you think that they just became something overnight. You know what I mean? Even with this tech stuff, a lot of people think, you know, you can make 6 figures overnight. There's somebody that does it. You know what I mean? But it ain't too many of them. You know what I mean? So just working and getting that grind. People think I'll post something about tech and be like, hey, you guys need to get into this program. They're like, that helped me make $150,000 next week? Like, no, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't happen that way. Like, you know, you're going to have to start somewhere. A lot of people don't want to start. So, yeah.
No, I agree. And like I said, like I think, you know, like I'm glad that you spoke about tech because, like I said, I'm really unfamiliar with it when it comes to that, but I know it's so essential, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, even understanding like the ins and outs about it, you know, I think a lot of people be like, oh yeah, you have to have this in order to do this, but you're living proof, literally, like, bro, all it is showing up every single day, working hard, having these conversations, and continuing to be coachable throughout the process. Right.
So I do want to emphasize on that for sure, though, is you don't necessarily have to have a degree. You don't have to have a certification. The most important thing you need to be is coachable. Be coachable. Be someone that someone can train. Be someone that somebody can actually spend time with. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, these people got to spend 8 hours a day with you. You know, so just be somebody that somebody want to be around. You know what I mean? And it becomes easy after that. Like, it becomes super easy. Like, once you get your foot into the door the first time, it's easy. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Super easy.
So, as far as your digital business, right? Like, where do you see that years from now? Like,
so
you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like with you still being able to navigate, still being able to network with these people, things like that. Like I said, there's so many things you could do with the camera. You know what I mean? So like, where do you see that within the next 5?
I would say scaling. You know what I mean? I'm kind of trying to push back on the birthday parties and stuff like that. I'm trying to work on bigger projects. Just working with, you know, people that I feel like can help me grow to the next level. Not saying I'm too good for anybody, but I'm at a specific point in my career to where it has to make sense. I was shooting music videos in the ghetto, man. All them guns waving in my face, and it's just over time, it just became not worth it. You know what I mean? Not worth the risk, not worth the money, because they barely have any. It's funny so that you mentioned that, because I would say when it comes to the camera stuff, me personally, I'm just trying to scale and work with more businesses. So me personally, I only work with business, brands, and entrepreneurs. Okay. Why? Because they're the ones with the money. The music people have money, you know what I mean? But it's what's $1,000 to a business versus $1,000 to an individual.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So you can easily scale. You know what I mean? You can go to 10 businesses, mom and pop shops. Hey, I want to shoot do your social media for $1,000 a month. You can do that times 10. You 10K in.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that. They don't understand the compound. You know what I mean? You don't got to work so hard to make a lot of money. It's actually easier to make more money when you work less.
Yeah.
Me personally, I got all these jobs. this is the least amount of work I've ever done in my life, because now I got VAs, virtual assistants. So if work becomes too overwhelming for me, go ahead, send that overseas, have them edit everything. You know what I mean? Over time.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that's dope that you sat there and said that, because I think you really just helped me with that. Because sometimes I think we get so caught in the grind, like we just need to sit there and multiply everything. But it's like, nah, if you really like saw where you were at, knowing what it is and understanding what the business is cool. And I think that for us, even as individuals, like when we're doing business, we can't have a hood mentality behind it. Like that your value is your value, literally.
Right, and that was me too. Like me personally, just growing up in just a minority-based place. You know what I mean? I was afraid to go to the different big businesses and be like, hey, this is what I charge, because I'm so used to, us trying to hassle people. You know what I mean? Like, oh, nah, I can't do that. I do it for this. And it's just like, there's some people that just be like, sure, that's it. And another thing is, a lot of people don't understand, if you charge too cheap, people start thinking you too cheap, like price-wise, like quality-wise. So some people are looking for that top dollar. You know what I mean? So once I started to learn that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to this business. You can't count pockets, but you just never know. Like, I would never cut myself like short ever in life, because the worst they can say is no. You bring it down a little bit, but it's still more than what you would originally ask for, because that's just a regular price. I always go up.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that that's definitely important. And I had to learn that too. You know what I'm saying? Within everything, it's like, oh, yeah, you going to charge that to speak? You going to charge that to do this? Yeah. But then you realize that you're the walking brand, and if you're the commodity and you're adding value to these situations, continue to add the value to the situations, because, like I said, the more value you add, the more valuable you become.
Right. And you don't want to be nowhere where you hate in your life. You know what I mean? You don't want to go somewhere and be like, I should have charged more. Like, this sucks. Like I never do that. So, like I said, I mean, I'm just trying to scale. I'm trying to actually show other people how to make money with the camera, because there's a lot of camera classes and stuff like that out with schools. They teach you the logistics of things, how to shoot a camera, what to do, but they don't tell you the business side of things. And that's the most important thing in life, business. You know what I mean? You got to learn how to sell. You got to learn how to negotiate, and schools don't really teach you that in camera class. They just teach you how to use one, but they ain't tell you that, you just spent 12 hours at a wedding for $1,000 when you can just go to a business for 8 hours a month and make $1,000, put them on a retainer. Now you got instant $1,000 coming every single time. People only get married once in a lifetime sometimes. Right. These businesses are open every single day, every single year, 12 months. That's $12,000 that you can add additional to your income that you just didn't think about.
Right. Yeah, you giving them a game, man. That's dope. That's dope. Nah, because I think a lot of people look at that too, where it's like, even boxing the men, it's like, oh yeah, man, I only do music videos, or I only do documentaries. I only do this. And I think that the more versatile you get with your craft or whatever it is, then that's when them doors open, bro.
That's one thing though. So I always give these people this analogy, right? So if you have a headache, would you go to a doctor that specializes in headaches, or would you go to a regular doctor specializing in everything? You're going to go with the one that specializes in headaches, right? Because that's just their niche. So that's why I only work with business brands and entrepreneurs, because of that reason. Literally. Because they're like, oh, so who do you work with? You do birthday parties? No, I just work with businesses. They're like, oh, he's a business. Like, he works with all businesses, you know what I mean? So that makes you more valuable. If you start to do a million things, you're starting to spread yourself thin, because it's just like, I'd rather just go with the guy that specializes. You know what I mean? Because that's just what he do.
Yeah.
So specialize in what makes the most money, and that's the businesses, So
for sure. Yeah, man, you just helped me a lot. You know what I'm saying? Now you just helped me a lot, because now that I'm looking at it, like understanding, you're always going to understand your value, your self-worth, but then it's like, okay, now I'm saying, what's next in that? So like I said, even with that, and like I said, doing infomercials, doing drops, things like that can help different businesses, and you never know.
You just never know, dude. And like I said, just find where you add the most value at and just start charging them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just go straight to the. I ain't gonna say I'm counting pockets or nothing, but if you look like you're doing some things and your shop is popping, that's where I'm at. If you got somebody to do your content, it's a whole play, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, you can go on somebody's page, a business right now, and see that you could tell when somebody's using an Android.
Right.
I got a $1,000 camera, $1,500 camera right now. I can shoot your stuff. How much you charge? $1,000? Only $1,000 a month? I just made $50,000 in revenue this month. $1,000 is nothing to marketing. You know what I mean? Like, I'll do that any day. Like I said, it's easy. Like, you just gotta find your way. I've been up to 13, 14 clients at one time, at 1 month. just off of working one day, 8 hours, $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month, put them on a retainer. That's how Netflix and Amazon Prime and Amazon, like all these people are subscription based because that's how you get money consistently flowing. Stop trying to focus on the one music video from the one rapper that only got money once a month and don't really want to do nothing with it, when you have people that are really owning these businesses and that are distributing money because they understand the value in marketing. You know what I mean? And that's super important, bro.
So, like, I know, like, you coming up and now seeing, like, streaming, right? Because you just sat there and talked about, like, Netflix and Amazon Prime and things like that. Like, how do you feel about it now? Like, I feel like it's just been a complete game changer, especially with, like, Netflix doing, an NFL game for the holidays. It's like, whoa, like, we never really had saw something like that. So, where do you think streaming will be? You know?
Streaming is going to take over. You know what I mean? Because it's just, that's where the money's at, you know? Once these big brands start signing these contract deals with, I think Tank's Fight's about to be on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it is.
Like, that means these people got to get the subscription to actually watch the fight, you know what I mean? And when you do that, that's dragging more attention to you. So, like, I ain't gonna lie, like, whoever invested in Netflix stocks and stuff like that is lit, because you can't even, this year you couldn't even watch any NFL game like you used to. Like back then it's just straight Channel 5, ESPN. Now you gotta have Netflix, Peacock, all these different things. So like there's no way around that. They're gonna get more and more and more money. So like
for sure.
I'm trying to find out how I can make a Netflix or you know what I mean? I'm trying to get a streaming platform, but I think Kai Cenat is gonna end up doing something like that. He gonna get his own platform and he's gonna be able to do that and monetize it. Have people come on. I mean, he's already doing it, but he can do it at a higher scale. Yeah,
for sure. And I think that when people look at him, they're like, man, where did he come from? And it's like, bro, like, it's been a lot of days. Like, he's definitely a pioneer in this streaming space, and him being so young.
Right.
You know, just to say the word pioneer, you're like, bro, pioneer is somebody that's been doing it, like, for 15, 20 years. But it's like, bro, like, he's a model that a lot of people follow.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody trying to do it too. I've seen so many Twitch. I didn't know what Twitch was before. You know what I mean? And working at the radio station, I started to understand that people go on like radio runs, right? So they would go to this place, to that place, to that place, and streaming is like the next step. Like, you know what I mean? Like you on Kai Cenat's stream, you're automatically lit. Like, you know what I mean? And once you get a bunch of streamers and they're starting to get these quantities of followers and viewers and stuff, like that's the spot to go to. And you get to chill. You know, you're getting paid to chill.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
So who inspires you the most? Like, you're doing the work, you're doing everything. Like, who really inspires you to be like, bro, okay, you know what? Like, I got to keep going. And it's like a non-negotiable. As
cliche as this may sound, my why is me. You know what I mean? I help people because I want to help. You know what I mean? There was times where I wish I had this resource that I didn't have. You know what I mean? So I say my why. I mean, obviously my family, but like outside of that is me, because I remember not having what I have now. You know what I mean? I remember looking at houses like, oh my gosh, this is a big house. Now I'm trying to figure out. I was never the type of person to drive around neighborhoods and be like, dang, I wish I had that. I'm the type of person of how I'm gonna get that. You know what I mean? So all these things that I'm accomplishing now, working with, you know, DJ Academics at the radio station, I'm at a podcast. You know what I mean? These are things that I've always wanted to do, but I knew it. You know what I mean? I knew if I put the time in, I was going to get it. So my why is really just me as a child. Like, I'm big on, like, journaling. If you look at my journal right now, everything that I'm doing today, I had that before in my journal.
Wow.
Everything. Like, there's nothing that I didn't do in life. Like, God forbid, if I was passed away today, I'm good. Because everything in my journal I said I was going to do, I'm going to do. And that's what it is. So I wake up every day like, man, I tell my friends all the time, like, man, I wish the old me could see this. Like, you know what I mean? I'm here. Like, you know what I mean? And it felt better than overnight success because I knew what it took to get me here. So it's going to be hard to knock me off my throne, bro. I'm not going to lie.
No, that's dope. And you said journaling, and I do that too. So it's just like, okay, foreseeing it, it's like, yo, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Like, this week was a great productive week for myself. I was like, yo,
and journaling for me became recording. You know what I mean? So if you watch the Kanye documentary, they show all his old clips of when he was in that grind. He gonna sit back and watch that like, you sit back watching that like, yeah, like I remember that time. So not only is, you know, I say this, growing up, you have baby pictures, right? Everybody always wants to be like, oh, I want to see what my baby pictures look like, right? And it's just like, imagine you growing up in your grind. Now you can visibly see a video of you growing up in your grind. Now that's a good feeling. Because I know me, I'm like, I want to see my baby pictures. Barely got any, but I have thousands of hours of footage of me grinding. So now I can go back and show my kids and my kids, like, this is what it took for me to get to where I'm at. You know what I mean? Just so not only write it down, record it. You know what I mean? Everything just put it in your archives and you good, bro.
Yeah, watching those, watching how it was, and like I said, even for this, like, started, like I said, July 5th, 2020, doing motivational videos on the gram. Then after that, November 6th, 2020, doing my first episode. Now looking at it, it's like, time is just flying. I
asked you, I was like, how many episodes you got? It's too many to count. Like,
there's too many to count.
You couldn't even imagine that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, dang, I'm really here now. So it's up and it's stuck.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Bro.
So, like, as far as the community and, like, youth, what advice do you want to give them, man? Because I feel like it's a lot of people, like we've already sat there and said, trying to start the dream, trying to start the plans, trying to start the vision, probably in the threshold, a roadblock, whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What do you think you would tell them? And then, of course, for the kids.
Yeah, for sure. I would say definitely put yourself second. Put God first and put you second. Because you don't understand that, like, life goes on regardless who's in your life or not. It's your life. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to live the life that you live and focus on getting some legitimate money. It's a million ways to make money today in today's world. Millions. Legally. You know what I mean? There's so many people that are just doing the slight things, the things that they feel like it's easy, selling drugs or doing this. To me personally, me working in tech, sitting at home in my bed is much, much, much more easier than going out selling the drug. You know what I mean? Like, you got to understand, you just got to be more optimistic and understand that there's so much out there for you. You don't need to do the negative things anymore. Like, back then it used to be you can see, you know what I mean? They didn't have the internet. So they only seen what they seen on their neighborhood, their block and stuff like that. I'm the type of person to pick up my phone and look up whatever I want to look at and just follow that person. So if you want to be the next Beyonce, look for the next person that's closest to Beyonce that you can reach, and that'll get you to the closest stage to becoming Beyonce. You know what I mean? Instead of just out here trying to be El Chapo and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Just yeah.
Yeah, I think, my advice would be just start. Like I said, we're both living proof of just starting. Like, we didn't know what it was going to look like. We had the idea. We had the interest. We wrote it down. We saw the vision. We made it plain.
Right.
And like I said, and just trusted God throughout the process. And I know sometimes it's kind of hard because we always want to control everything. But it's like, nah, like realizing, like you just sat there and said, putting God first, having you be second. Because like I said, you tap into the source. That's him. Right. You know what I'm saying? He gives you everything. And you got to realize that you're qualified too. Like, yo, I got everything I need because he said so. Like, I may not be the person that got all the degrees, like you said, or all the certifications, or this, Y, Z, but your story and your assignment, your voice, your passion, there's so many people that are attached to it that you may not know. And that's why it's like, yo, I see you. I keep grinding and keep working. And like I said, for yourself, it's like I came across it and I saw it. And it's like, okay. But then it's like, yo, like, he's doing this at a volume where it's consistent and he's being transparent and he's being real and he's being authentic. And that's the attraction for me. I like the transparency. I like being authentic, and you just sitting there documenting that and showing people like, yo, like, if I can do this, you can do this too. Easy. Ain't nothing going to stop you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The only thing that can stop you is yourself. And I want to touch on that too. It's just, you don't understand how you can get caught up in so many different things, and it's just easy. The hardest thing in the world to do is to be somebody else. The easiest thing in the world to do is be yourself. Because God created you to be yourself. So just be yourself. Like, don't try to portray to be somebody that you're not, because that's you're going to get bogged going that way. Because you're stressing trying to be something that you're not every single day. You wake up, be yourself. Like you said, I mean, I appreciate the flowers and stuff like that. I'm just a genuine person.
For sure.
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Tech is hard. But once you get into it, it become easy. Like, you know what I mean? That's just anything. Like you said, just starting. Just start.
Yeah.
Start.
Yeah, like I said, like speaking behind a microphone to someone be like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. It's so hard. For me, like I said, I went to school for communications. I graduated from Bowie State University and got my degree in it. So it's just like God just has a mysterious way of just putting things together and making it full circle for being like, all right, bet, cool. Because to be honest with you, I wanted to be on ESPN talking about sports all day. But God, like, all right, I got something else for you.
Right.
And this is what it was. So
when one door closed, another open, and it opens a million other doors. A lot of people, they let one drought put them down. You know, it don't rain forever.
Nah, for sure. The wilderness doesn't last forever too, man.
Right.
Joy's on the other side of that.
Nah, for sure. And that's my thing. When something bad happened, I be like, oh yeah, I know something about to happen. That's 20 times better. So I don't look at negative things as bad anymore. You know,
For
I
sure.
know it's gonna come.
For sure, man. Well, like I said, man, just continue to inspire, continue to uplift. You know what I'm saying? I'm rooting for you, bro. I'm glad that we were able to, sit down, have this conversation. I feel like it was much needed.
Yeah, it's
it
a
felt
long
like
time
it was
coming.
A long time coming. It felt very therapeutic to me. You know what I'm saying? I learned a lot. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you.
So I appreciate you for that, man. Keep grinding, keep elevating. And y'all already know, man, the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream.
The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream.
I said the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. And we out.